Hello, everyone. Welcome to this LinkedIn live call. My name is Ilya Hadi. This is season 2, episode 3 of my podcast series. And I'd like to introduce you to my awesome guest, Valencia Bennett. And she is an awesome business coach. Who's a business coach who empowers other coaches to scale their businesses. So in this call, we'll talk about her journey, her origin story, and how to start your coaching business as well as scale it, and how introverts can also start their coaching business, and even touch, depending on the time, how AI has impacted coaching. And we'll also take any audience questions. So with that, Valencia, I'd like to please introduce yourself. Thank you. Thanks so much for being part of this call.
Yes, thank you, Ilya, for having me. I'm super excited to be here. I haven't done a live in a while, so it's pretty good to be back out on the live world and the live space. But like you mentioned, I am Valencia. I am a business coach and strategist for coaches. I work directly with coaches to help them simplify their systems and strategies so it's easy for them to achieve consistent 10K plus months. I tell people that's my online business. But outside of this, I do own 4 other companies with my husband, and we are serial entrepreneurs. We love investing. And so I love to teach all things about business. But in this one, we're going to be talking about coaching businesses in particular. So I'm excited to share more about my journey and how I got started.
Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about your origin story. Um, you've, as you mentioned, you have 4 businesses, or have had 4 businesses. What got you into business coaching? Was it as you were working on your businesses that you saw like there's actually opportunity here to help coaches uh, scale their, or be a coach and scale their businesses? So what did that look like? Was there like, or maybe it was a longer process? Could you dive deeper into that?
Yeah. So surprisingly, I was doing entrepreneurship since like the age of 16. Just from in college and or in high school, noticing everything like opportunities. My mom, she had a catering business. And so I would help her run her catering business. And then from there, went to college, started my own babysitting company. And then from there, as time continued to go on, I just built other businesses along the way while working in corporate. So I was a business director for 10 plus years in corporate. And so as you can see, the theme here is
Mhm.
business, love all things business. And what really brought me to this place where I am with being a business coach for coaches was I was in the pandemic, right? Everyone was questioning what in the world are we doing with our lives? And even though I had all of these different businesses, for some reason, I still had the mindset that I needed to have a corporate job. I don't know why, but that's just what was instilled in me. And I stayed, but I knew there was something more. I knew that I needed to do something different. And I took the bold leap to leave corporate and just do entrepreneurship full time. And that was about 4 years ago, and I have not looked back. And what really made me specialize in working with coaches is because I was a business coach, I was in a lot of environments with coaches, and they all had the same problems, right? They were all mentioning the same challenges of, I want to help people, I want to serve people, but I just don't know. I hate marketing, I hate sales. And they would say, oh, okay, I got to go and post on Instagram 5 times a week and dance on videos. And I'm like, no, you don't. And so I constantly just would tell people, they were like, oh, I got to do this, Valencia. I'm like, no, you don't. And so with time, I became known as the queen of simple because I challenge everything that people say you have to do to create success in a coaching business. And that's what really led me here to helping coaches build simplified businesses that's in alignment with them, that feels good to them, where they don't have to show up and do silly dances on videos all the time to get attention. Because that's not really what's working to convert people into clients. It's really more about you. You're the person they want to work with. And so they want to connect and collaborate with you. So that's what really brought me to this space. I just want the good people to win. I want the good people to win. And coaches are just that. They lead from their heart. They're beautiful people. I'm so happy that I get to work with these type of people every single day because of how amazing they are. And that is why I'm excited that I get to help them change their lives.
That's awesome. Love to dive deeper into that a little bit more. So, um, what inspired you? Was it like a role model? Was it other creators on social media? Maybe it was LinkedIn that you saw, because as like I'm a content creator too, and I see a lot of coaches, like offering their services, even somewhat similar coaches for coaches. So was there like any type of like figure, or maybe like a business that you saw, like this is like the business of coaching, you saw that already in practice, and you were like, let me add my unique spin to it? Like, was there something like that brought you to specifically business coaching?
Yeah, so I remember when I was working in corporate, to be honest with you, I didn't know about coaching. I
Mhm.
wasn't a person who was on social media at all. I didn't have a
Yeah.
private social media. I was an introvert. I was a very private person. I wasn't on social media at all. I even joke and tell people I didn't even have a MySpace page when that was something popular back then. Um, but what I realized very quickly is when I was in corporate, they had this amazing leadership coach come in. And that was my first exposure to coaching. And my
Mm.
organization allowed me to work with her one to one. And so I did. I remember she came in and she was doing a workshop, and one of my coworkers, she like nudged me and she was like, Valencia, I can see you doing that. And I
Mm.
said, hmm. I said, I never thought of that. I never even knew that was something you could do.
Mhm.
And so I started to ask the leadership coach questions about it, and she would give me insights and things like that. And I'll be honest with you, at the time, she was like, "Well, maybe in a few years, Valencia, you can go out and explore what this would be like." And she didn't know. I was like, "I'm already thinking about doing this in like the next 6 months. What are you talking about?" And truly, that's what exposed me to coaching, was experiencing coaching for myself. And that's what led me down the path of like, okay, I don't want to be a leadership coach, but I know I love business and I can absolutely be a business coach.
Interesting. My older brother is actually, or he used to be like an leadership coach or executive coach, and so it's, like that was my like entry into learning more about it. I wasn't into social media that much at that time, but now I'm into social media. I see
Mhm.
more like kind of more, coaches for everything, but then also coaches for coaches. So that's quite interesting. That's great. So when you made the decision to go all in, so like I'm a nine to fiver with like a side hustle.
Mhm.
Was there like I hear this sometimes in terms of these stories, like people go all in. How was that process for you? I feel like for me, I'm kind of risk averse. Is like I like to test things out to make sure there's actually
Yeah.
some traction before, like like especially as it pertains to like financial stuff. Is like it's for me that it's like it seems like a big risk to not have income for a while. The uncertainty of that. So like, how was that transition for you? Like like how it's hard to gauge how confident you are in terms of monetizing right away, but like
Yeah.
how'd that process look for you?
So in the beginning, right, like I knew, and I tell people I'm a believer. And
Mm,
so during the pandemic, that a small, still voice came to me and told me December 31st, 2020 is my last day.
mm,
And that was telling me that my last day in corporate, because I'll be honest with you, I was praying. I was praying for weeks, months, years at a time. It's like, what am I doing next? What am I supposed to do?
mm,
Because I know this is not what I'm supposed to be doing.
mm,
And I had a date. So my date was December 31st, 2020. I remember telling my husband, literally, it was like June. I was sitting at home in my office for the first time working remotely during the pandemic. And he comes home that day and I'm like, hey, honey, just letting you know, my last day is December 31st, 2020. He was like, what, they letting you go or something? I'm like, no, nope, I'm leaving. And he was kind of like, are you sure? Because similar to what you mentioned, being risk averse, I was extremely risk averse. I did not want to leave without a plan, but
Mhm.
I just felt so convicted in it. I just was like, I'm doing it. And so in
Mhm.
that time, I started to plan for my business, plan what that's going to look like. At the time, I had a business partner, and so we would meet on Saturdays and do our little business plan, getting everything going.
Mhm.
And January, when I left, I still stayed on part time and I
Mhm.
trained my replacement. So the beauty in that, I was still generating income from my 9 to 5 while building my business.
Ah.
So even that January, we landed like a $24,000 contract. I was super excited. I was like, what? I can't believe we just did this. And so we were working with that client. And then along with that, I was still working my 9 to 5, training my replacement. And surprisingly, I ended up training him for like 5 months. Like I was still there for a solid 5 months, but I would only go into the office once a week, and I
Mm.
would work remote the rest of the time. And then alongside that, I was bringing in clients into my business. And yeah, so that was kind of my transition plan. It worked out that way, and it worked out in my favor. But I always like to put the disclaimer out is that I had a savings. To
Mhm.
be honest, a part of my story is my husband and I accomplished financial freedom by the age of 30. When
Mm.
it was time for me to transition, I looked at that. We looked at our finances and we were blown away. We couldn't believe of what we accomplished because of the different businesses, the real estate investments, brokerage accounts. Like we had a lot of different avenues that we were able to tap into where I was financially absolutely okay to leave my corporate job sooner if I wanted to. So that was my story. And so I always like to put a disclaimer out. It's like, check your finances. Can your household sustain if you don't make any money the first year? Because most of
Right.
the time companies don't make the
Right.
amount of money they want in that first year. So just assess that, come up with a plan, and then execute every day to make sure that you are working towards your goal. And that is making some sacrifices along the way. That is setting time aside every day to work on your business. And I always say in that phase, you need to be marketing every day, marketing for your business every day, so that you are bringing in that clientele.
Totally makes sense. So so we're about halfway. So for anybody who is watching, if you do have any questions for Valencia, please let us know. So let's dive deeper in terms of your business coaching. And so I've been to your website. I see you have like a Savvy Success Formula program.
Yeah.
So walk us through like I see you also have two offers. So walk us through like a high level of what your business coaching is all about.
Yeah. So my business coaching. So just for people who don't know me, right? It's all about simplicity. It's all about doing things that feel in alignment. Especially as an introvert, I am a full blown introvert, and so being an introvert, I knew that I didn't want to do all the things that other people would say you had to do. I don't want to be on LinkedIn all day. I'm not on LinkedIn all day, right? Like I remember when I first started, I felt like I had to be on LinkedIn all day. I'm like, this is madness. Who does this? I was like, I have other things to do. And so I just, like I mentioned, I challenge the status quo. I challenge a lot of things, and my clients know that. I'm always saying, we're not doing that. For what? Why? Why do we need to do that? Just to say we did it? But going into that, that's what really birthed the Savvy Success Formula program. And it was because I no longer wanted coaches to feel like they had to do a million things to create success, right? And from that program, it is a 5-step program. And the first thing that we really focus on is getting very clear on your niche. I'll be honest with you, a lot of coaches think they know their niche. They feel like they're solid with their niche until they meet me. And then we dive deeper and we realize, like, okay, we have opportunities to improve here. And then the second part of that is once we identify your niche, then we build out an irresistible coaching offer for them.
Mm,
Once you know who you're serving and you know their challenges, their pains, their dreams, you can build something that is very difficult for them to say no to.
mm,
And that's when we really get into building that offer. And then from there, building an offer suite around that to support your signature program. The second piece is branding. You want to
mm,
stand out with a magnetic brand. There's
mm,
two parts of branding, right? You have your brand messaging and positioning. How are you showing up? How are you telling your story? How are people connecting with you? And to be honest with you, most people ask like that unique selling proposition. What is your unique selling proposition? To be honest with you, you are unique. You are the person who people want to connect with and work with. And then outside of that, the other piece of the unique selling proposition is what makes your offer different, what makes
mm,
your offer unique to people.
mm,
And so from there, that part is with your messaging. And then the second piece for your branding is your visual brand. I'll be
mm.
honest with you, I didn't know what I was doing when I first got on LinkedIn, but I did have some brand colors and I had some brand photos. I had those two things. And my messaging was all over the place. I won't even lie.
Mm,
But I had those two things, and that instantly connected people with me because people are like, oh my goodness, I love your brand pictures. Oh my goodness, I love your brand. And I'm like,
mm,
oh, okay. So I felt good about that. And so that's one thing I specialize in now is helping people build premium magnetic brands. And so I
mm,
get so excited when my clients get to the point of updating their profile because it just really, really bring them to that next level.
mm, mm,
Step three is stabilize 10K plus months with easy
mm,
client acquisition. So that's all about marketing and sales, right? But it's doing marketing and sales in a way that feels good. And you know what you need to do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, literally. I have
mm,
it like that, where
mm,
people know, like, if you're doing these things, you're going to hit your revenue goals.
mm,
Um,
mm,
and then step four is about your client experience. We want to wow them. We want them to become your referral partners. We want to make it easy for your business to continue to scale because people don't want to stop working with you. And then the fifth part is sustain your path to freedom. That's the point and reason why we became business owners in the first place. We want to have freedom. And from there, we learn how to delegate, outsource, and making sure that we're streamlining everything to the point where we can scale and continue to move past there. And then after those 5 steps, once my clients finish working with me, then they move into my mastermind, and it's called Simply Scaling Mastermind, where that's all we focus on is marketing and sales and scaling, but doing it in a way that feels good to you, that's in alignment with you, and we make sure that we take care of ourselves because you can't separate personal and business. It's all connected. Whatever you are struggling with, it's going to show up in your business. So you have to make sure that you are whole, that you are complete, so that when you do show up in your business, it will flourish and thrive because you've actually taken the time to work on you and put yourself first.
Love that. Love that 5-step program. And
Thank you.
so, what are some common pain points for coaches? Well, like in any part of their journey to like,
Yeah.
is it, like say like some, like who are your most common clients? Are they coaches who already have some clients, or are they coaches who are thinking about, or content creators who are thinking about being coaches? Like, who comes to you the most often, and what are their pain points?
Yeah. So typically I work with coaches who have already started in their
Mm,
business and they're just at that point of like, I'm over this. I'm fed up. I need somebody to help me put A, B, C, D, all of the pieces together to make this flow.
mm,
And those are the clients I enjoy working with the most because I say you've tried it out, you've
mm,
realized it's tough, and now you're
mm,
like, I need some help.
mm,
And those are the ones that I typically work with, and they are ready and willing to just make changes and know that if they follow the steps that I'm providing, they're going to get there. And then also another pain point, obviously, is clients, right? It's getting
mm,
clients,
mm.
right? It's getting clients, and that's the ultimate goal. Because for you to reach your revenue goals, you need clients,
Right.
and that's where a lot of coaches struggle. But I always tell them the struggle comes from the foundation. And I love real estate. My husband and I are in real estate. And so I love to use that analogy is the foundation. If the foundation of your home isn't sturdy, then everything else can crumble and fall apart. And so that's when it's important for you to be clear and solid on your niche, to be clear and solid
Mhm.
on your offer, because you want to be able to get in front of your ideal clients all the time
Mhm.
and talk about your offer because you created it specifically for them. When you do that, it makes selling easy. It's no
Mhm.
longer trying to prove why someone needs to buy this offer from you. You've done the
Mhm.
work. You've already built the offer for them specifically. So it's very difficult for them to say no. And me, just this strategy in itself allows me to have an 80% conversion rate because I've built an offer specifically for my ideal audience. So when I get on a call with people, 80% of the time, they're going to work with me in some capacity. In some capacity. So that's what I teach my clients. And it's a game changer for them because they're no longer trying to piece it together or try to figure out, oh, well, I want to work with 5 different groups of people. Like, no, let's choose that group that you really want to hone in on and then go from
Mhm.
there. And to be honest, when I became a business coach for coaches, I thought I was being unique. I thought I knew like literally one other business coach for coaches. No lie.
Mhm.
At that time, I was like, there's not that many business coaches for coaches. And now I see them everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay, well, hey, I enjoy competition. I don't look at people as competition. There's enough to go around. And
Mhm.
that's when you really have that abundance mindset, knowing that your people will find you, they will come to work with you. And whatever it is that you have to offer, and if it's what they want, they're going to work with you.
Yeah, that's so I think this comes back to like personal branding. I mean, so at least whenever I first joined LinkedIn, or I mean, in terms of like content creation, it was the beginning of this year. Personal branding, and it's still very important. That's something that I see. A lot. Maybe it's just the people I follow, but really trying to focus on personal branding. That is related to coaching as well. Like
Mm.
if you have a strong personal brand, you can build your business and whatever it is. Whether it's coaching, whether it's maybe not so much digital products, but still probably helps. So coming to like scaling of your business with coaching.
Yeah.
So just to touch a little bit on AI, like how do you use some like automation there? Do you use like systems, or like how does that look for coaches who want to scale more? I know that's the step 5 of your formula as well.
Yeah. Yeah, AI has been a game changer for sure. Because there's
Mhm.
things that we're not, right? We're not copywriters. Like I never will
I'm
say
not.
that I'm a copy. I
I'm
will
not.
never say I'm a copywriter. I'm not a copywriter.
Mhm.
But being able to use ChatGPT. So funny story. I call ChatGPT Fred. I don't know why. I just started calling that. So my clients know I'm like, okay, we're going to use Fred for this. So they know who we're using. We're using ChatGPT, but I call him Fred. So if you
Mhm.
hear me say Fred in this live, that's who I'm talking about, ChatGPT. So anyway, we'll use Fred. And even in my program, I've positioned it where even on my worksheets at the top, it's like need inspiration. Here's a prompt.
Mm.
So people can pull that prompt, drop it into Fred, and then from there, they're able to get the information that they need. And it helps at least align their thoughts because trying to create something from scratch, empty paper, it's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
And so that's one way that I have incorporated AI into my business is helping my clients move faster in the process with tested prompts that I've created.
Mm.
Second piece of that is automation, right? When I'm
Mm.
onboarding people, it's seamless. Like
Mm.
I literally get on a call with someone, I can send them the proposal in 5 minutes. From there, once they sign the proposal, they can sign, they join the community, they schedule their first coaching call. Like all of it is done in the matter of minutes. And
Mm.
from there, they get their welcome email. So all of it is automated, allowing me to have more time to focus on other things. And so
Mhm.
there's a lot of different ways I can talk about me incorporating AI into my business because it really has helped with the productivity. Every Monday, I do client work review. And so if there's anything that I'm reviewing and if I need some help on something, I go to Fred and get some feedback from him on, okay, this could help. And then I will position my thoughts and send it over to my clients to help them move forward and make sure that they're continuing to get things done in the program. So it has helped in so many ways.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so we only have a few minutes left, so I'll just ask some quick questions. So introverts, like, how is like as you've worked with some introverts and you're an introvert yourself, how has that affected? Like, what advice would you say to introverts who, like, who have like some coaching already, but like, like are struggling? Like, any thoughts or any tips for? I guess different personality types. Maybe you can just generalize it.
So the first thing I would say is, as an introvert, we operate differently, and I attract introverts. That's primarily who I work with, are introverts. But I've noticed that our energy is different. The way that we engage with people is different. Even from a marketing and sales perspective. That's why when I teach my clients how to sell, I focus it around coaching and conversations versus launching and trying to have this big grand whatever, like, or showing up on camera all the time. That's not something we love to do. And so I don't make it the foundation of my marketing and sales process. For them, it's just having one-on-one conversations, connecting with people, and being able to convert those to sales calls. And so that's when teaching them the right messaging to use in the DMs, how to properly post content on LinkedIn, like what's some good content, what's lead generating content. So helping them understand what that looks like, and then getting them to do things outside of social media. Because social media is draining, especially for introverts.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I say it's like I could be on here for about an hour or two and I'm done. I feel like I've worked an 8 to 10 hour shift. So for me, I'm like, as an introvert, if I want to do things outside of LinkedIn, I want to do things outside of the internet. So that is going to some local networking events, finding some communities that you can be a part of that helps you as well. And you want to have that balanced approach. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But I also say don't try to do multiple social media platforms all at once. Like, get solid with one and then eventually try to add on another one that feels good in alignment with your brand and your business. But in the meantime, choose just one social media platform and then choose a networking group or event that you can show up to regularly that gives you that balance and allows you to consistently bring in clients in both ways. But yeah, being an introvert, it's a superpower, but we have to rest. We have to go to our bat caves. Batman, he has to come, he leaves and go when the signal comes out, and that's what we do. When the signal comes out, we come out. But in the meantime, we need to be recharging. So it's just finding things that align and accepting that too. I think that's where I struggled even in the beginning. I felt like I always had to be doing multiple videos. I had to be doing this. I had to be doing that. I need to be posting 5-6 days a week. And when I realized that I didn't need to do that, it was game changing for me.
Yeah, and that's great insight. I mean, that was like a lot of the content that I consumed when I initially started, like post daily or post like 6 days a week, and spend 3 hours at least, every day on social, if not more, with posting and commenting. And it's tough to sustain that. But totally understand where you come from, and I echo that. It's like I need to recharge often as well. I'm an introvert as well. So as we're closing up, so what do you want people to know about you and your work, Valencia, and what's the best place to find you? If it could be just LinkedIn, would love to hear more about that.
LinkedIn is my space and place in this online world. So you can absolutely connect with me on LinkedIn. And just let me know that you joined the live. with Ilya, and that we can connect from there. I do have my website, so if anyone wanted to go check that out, they can. But truly, if you want to connect with me, you can just send me a message on LinkedIn and we can start a conversation from there. And I believe we have a question. I wanted to make
Oh,
sure I
yes.
answered that question before we finish.
Yes. Thanks, Giorgio. And the question is, do you work only with people who have online businesses?
To be honest, I always look to see if it's a fit. So I own 4 other businesses. So I work with people even outside of the coaching space. So if we were to meet and I felt like I could be a really good addition to helping you grow your business, then it is a possibility. So the
Awesome.
answer is yes, I work well. I work with people beyond online businesses too.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time, Valencia. It was wonderful to have you and learn more about coaching and how to scale your coaching business. So thanks again for your time. Any
Thank you for having
closing
me.
any more closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Let's see. You know what? At the end of the day, there's something I've learned as I've grown my business. And you'll notice this in this space. There's 2 things that's really important as you continue to scale. And it's 2 goals, right? Simple goals. It's time and money.
Mm.
So I want you to ask yourself, how much time do you want to be able to work in your business? So think about your capacity, your energy, all of those different components, and align that to amount of time that you can show up fully in your business. And then the second piece is your revenue. How much money do you want to be bringing in every month? And then work to create a world where both of those align. And that will allow you to scale your business in alignment.
Love that. Love that. Those are 2 important metrics that I think everybody should follow, whether you have a coaching business or not.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks again for your time, and
You're welcome.
have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.